It's, what is it?
It's locked in the vault.
Locked in the vault. Drill to move one time.
One time.
One.
And done.
Locked in the vault. So.
I tucked it in a big ass key.
So, I'm Josh Vogel. This is my wife Angela Vogel.
Comic relief.
Comic relief. The voice of reason behind this love report. Sweet. And so we're back, and we're gonna film an escape that I learned at a Hickson Gracie seminar years ago, and then some ways that I've modified it to work for my game, just based on my experience using it, and then also how it ties into the elbow escape and the bumping. So for the first part, we're going to focus on the mechanics of how it works. The actual movement is like, if you just slide away for a second, be gone.
Get away from me.
The actual movement is my outside foot planting on the mat at an angle. So that creates a kickstand kind of wedge. And I'm going to use this to power my top arm. So I'm pushing off of my leg. I'm pressing with my top arm almost like a punch. My bottom arm pulls. So it's a pushing, pulling kind of motion powered by my legs and my hips. Sometimes it's a bridge and then press, but everything is always powered by this outside leg. And the goal of this is when I put my hand in the stomach, whether it's a fist or I'm grabbing the belt or I'm using my palm, my goal is to take the person on top from being in a 50-50 weight distribution to 60-40 or 70-30 or 80-20, even better, 90-10. So putting more of their weight on one leg than the other. When more weight goes on one leg than the other, then one leg gets light. So one leg is heavy, one is light, which means that it's easy to slide out. So if she's on top, let's say we're at this angle here. Can the camera see us?
Yes.
Okay. So if you just sit up for a second. So my hand placement, number one, my hand placement would be attached to the center of her body. And sometimes I'll start a little bit off center because when I bump, it'll naturally slide to the center. If I start here and I try to bump, the hand starts to slide off. So I try to aim a little bit to the side of the center so that when I actually turn, I get an accurate press on the center of her body. And like I said, all I'm trying to do is take her weight distribution from 50-50 to more weight on that leg so that this leg gets light. I'm gonna do it slow because she has a messed up knee and I don't wanna mess it up worse. But my hand grip could be gripping the belt, it could be using my palm, or sometimes it's punching. If I can get my hand to the waist. If she's higher up, sometimes I have to use my elbow framing on the ribs on this side. So if she's higher up and she's wrapping my neck, I have to be here, and it's the same idea. Now, when I do this, I have to make sure, if you sit up for a second, I have to make sure that my body makes a solid structure, meaning that this is not collapsible like tinfoil. It should be like an I-beam solid structure. So it's not just like, like that. It's like a solid, locked in structure. So here. So nothing, I can't get this person off of me. So I can't be collapsible. I have to make myself a solid structure. That makes sense. So here and here, I plant my foot. As I lock myself into a frame, I'm gonna push and shift her weight off to the side. This leg is now light, so I'm gonna use my outside foot to shrimp. My inside elbow frames on the inside of the knee so that she does not slide up high. And then from here, my hips slide. My inside knee goes diagonally across the hips like this. Not foot underneath this cheek A. Foot goes underneath butt cheek B. So I'm diagonally across the hips rather than perpendicular to the hips. The reasoning behind this, because if I'm perpendicular to the hips, I don't have as much control to keep her away from me. Yeah, she'll collapse down here. So if we go back, if I go diagonally here and she tries to put her weight on me, I can use this as a frame to keep her away. And then this hand has to capture the calf here so that she's not ripping out of this footlock position. No gi, you can go into heel hooks and all this other kind of stuff. For now, we'll keep it super simple. So if we go back, here, we're in frame? We're in frame?
Yeah.
Okay. Here, foot plants, pressing, scoot my hips straight back, create a wall, 2, 3, toes pointed out. So 1, 2, 3, everything clamps in super tight. Here, here, 1, 2, 3. And then from here, the game opens up. So, get off of me. So the main thing is to attach yourself.
Why is
How you doing stuff? She's gonna do something. To attach your palm or your elbow or whatever to your partner's center of gravity, and when you press, make sure that you're able to attach the person and actually move them. Make sure that you have a solid structure all the way from your foot, through your shoulder, through your arm, so that it's a solid connected unit. Make sure that you're able to shift your partner's weight onto that leg. Realistically, when you're sparring, this is going to happen more during transition than it is like you're just laying there like a lump on bottom of the mount, and then all of a sudden you decide to push their stomach and get out. Realistically, it happens like if she is inside mount here, and then you start sliding over to the mount. Right here, bump, scoop my hips, and then all that stuff. So as they're transitioning to the mount, whether it's from side mount or whether it's from half guard, their weight is moving, so it becomes much easier for you to add to that momentum to push their weight to one side and scoot out. So realistically, this is going to be the kind of thing that you do in transition rather than statically when you're stuck in the mount. That doesn't mean you can't do it from the mount, it just means you have to set it up with other stuff or do it to people that aren't good. I'm just kidding. But you might have to set it up with a bump and roll, an elbow escape, or get their weight moving in one direction or the other and then push in the stomach while they're shifting weight. Or even better, just hit it while the person's transitioning to the mount, post in the stomach, shift their weight, and then scoot out. Give it a shot.
And then I was sitting in like a glamour shop all the time.